Imagine this moment. You're standing in a quiet funeral hall. The air is thick with grief. A framed photo of someone you love sits beside flickering candles. Your mother, your father, your spouse, your child. People speak in hushed voices. They say, they're in a better place now, or you'll see them again someday. But deep inside you, a question pierces through the rituals, the prayers, the polite comfort. Will I really see them again? Will they remember me? Will they know my face, my voice, the love we shared? It's not just a question of theology, it's personal, deeply personal, because loss doesn't just break our hearts, it leaves holes in our memories. And in the silence, we wonder if heaven is a reunion or just an eternal mystery. You're not the only one asking. Millions whisper this same question into their pillows at night, stare at empty chairs at the dinner table, or find themselves looking at old photos wondering, is this the last time they smiled at me? But here's the part we often overlook. God never intended for us to live in confusion about this. The Bible doesn't leave us dangling on this topic. In fact, Scripture is surprisingly clear about what happens after death, what our relationships look like in eternity, and yes, whether we'll truly know our loved ones in heaven. And yet, so many of us believe in Hollywood's heaven, not God's. We picture white clouds, wings, and harps. Or maybe we imagine a vast, impersonal light, some eternal fog where no one remembers who they were or who they loved. But that's not what God promised. Heaven is not vague. It's not abstract. It's not memory erasing or relationship dissolving. Heaven is restoration. Heaven is reunion. Heaven is God rewriting every broken ending with eternal love. So, today I want to walk with you, not as a preacher, but as a fellow soul who also wonders, who also hopes, and who has also cried over someone they never got to say goodbye to. Let's leave behind speculation and lean into Scripture. Because if you're brave enough to ask the question, will I really know my family in heaven? Then God is faithful enough to give you the truth. And friend, the truth might just blow your heart wide open in the best possible way. Let's be honest. Most people don't want to talk about death. They avoid it, laugh it off, change the subject. It feels too final, too terrifying, too out of our control. But the irony is this. Death is the one appointment we cannot cancel. And yet, we act like ignoring it will somehow delay it. But here's the truth. If you don't understand death, you'll never understand life. If you're afraid of the end, you'll never fully live the middle. And if you don't know what happens when your heart stops beating, then grief, fear, and doubt will control you every time someone you love takes their final breath. But God doesn't want that for you. He doesn't want you living in fear. He doesn't want you guessing. He wants you grounded in truth, because when you know what's waiting on the other side, even funerals can become places of hope. So let's break it down. You're not just flesh and bone. You are spirit. You are eternal. Your body is a shell, but your soul, that's forever. Ecclesiastes 12 verse 7 says this clearly. The dust returns to the ground it came from, and the spirit returns to God who gave it. That means when a person dies, whether it's peacefully in bed or suddenly on the road, their body stays, but their soul moves. There's no pause button, no blackout. There is immediate movement, immediate reality. And that's where the truth gets even more powerful. A divine separation in Luke 16 verses 19 to 31. Jesus tells us something strange, something raw, something uncomfortable. It's not a parable we teach in Sunday school much, because it doesn't end neatly. He speaks of two men. One, a rich man, dressed in luxury, living like he's untouchable. The other, Lazarus, poor, sick, rejected, laying at the gate of the rich man's house, just hoping for scraps. They both die, but what happens next? Lazarus is carried by angels to a place of peace and comfort, Abraham's side. The rich man? He finds himself in torment. And here's the shocking part. The rich man remembers. He remembers his life, his choices, his brothers still alive on earth. He even asks if someone can go warn them. What does this tell us? We do not lose memory after death. We retain our identity, our relationships, even our compassion. We are still us, but more alive, more aware, more eternal. The rich man could see, he could speak, he could feel, but his fate was fixed. His regret was permanent. His separation from God was sealed. Meanwhile, Lazarus was at peace, not because he was poor, but because he was righteous. And that's the next truth we must face. Heaven is real. Hell is real. Eternity is real. You won't float in limbo. You won't just sleep. You won't dissolve into the stars. You'll go somewhere, and you will know exactly where you are. That might be uncomfortable to hear, but discomfort is often the door to truth. For the believer, death is not the end. It is the beginning of the greatest reunion you've ever imagined. But for those who reject the invitation of Christ, the separation becomes eternal. Not because God is cruel, but because he honors our choice, even when it breaks his heart. So, what does this mean for our relationships? If we remember, if we recognize, if we remain ourselves after death, then what does that say about the people we've loved? Will your mother know you? Will your child run to you with joy? Will your grandfather smile and call your name? We'll get there in the next section. But for now, let this truth settle into your heart. You are more than this life. And those you've lost are not lost forever. They are more alive than you can imagine, in a realm more real than anything your eyes have ever seen. And if they knew Christ, they're not just in heaven. They're waiting for you. Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever woken up from a dream so vivid, so real, that you could still feel someone's presence beside you? Maybe it was your father, your spouse, a child you lost. For a brief moment, it was as if time folded in on itself, and they were there, whole, smiling, familiar. Then you woke up, and the ache returned. But what if I told you that feeling wasn't just wishful thinking? What if it was your soul remembering something your mind couldn't quite grasp? Because here's the truth that most people don't dare say out loud. Yes, we will recognize our loved ones in heaven, and not just vaguely, not as faceless spirits, not as floating light, but as them, restored, glorified, redeemed, but still unmistakably, miraculously them. Let's open this up. Biblically, spiritually, emotionally. We don't lose identity in heaven. We find it. Think about Jesus after the resurrection. His body was glorified, no longer bound by gravity, time, or pain. And yet, he was recognizable. Thomas touched his wounds. Mary knew his voice. The disciples saw his face and broke bread with him. He didn't return as a new being. He returned as himself, just transfigured by glory. 1 Corinthians 15 says, "What is sown is perishable, but what is raised is imperishable. It is sown in weakness, it is raised in power. It is sown a natural body, it is raised a spiritual body." This means our future bodies won't be less us, they'll be more us than ever before. Free from pain, free from sin, free from aging, but still carrying the essence of who we are. Our soul, our love, our memory. Recognition is a heavenly promise. When King David lost his infant son, he said something profound in 2 Samuel 12, verse 23. "I shall go to him, but he will not return to me." David didn't believe his son would become someone else. He believed they would reunite, that he would know him again. This isn't poetic metaphor. It's hope wrapped in holy truth. Moses and Elijah appeared with Jesus on the Mount of Transfiguration, Matthew 17. Peter recognized them, even though he had never seen their earthly faces. How? Because in heaven, recognition is no longer limited by memory or photos or time. It's spiritual. It's divinely illuminated. In eternity, you don't meet strangers. You meet destiny. Your loved ones remember you. Too many people fear this question. What if my mom doesn't know me in heaven? What if she forgets? Friend, love doesn't get erased. It gets completed. In heaven, our relationships aren't diminished. They're purified. That means your mother's love for you isn't weaker there. It's stronger. Your child who passed too soon isn't drifting in a fog. They're waiting for you with joy that never sleeps. And when you finally meet again, it will be like every broken moment of earth is healed in a single embrace. No need for words. No explaining. Just perfect knowing. But what if someone I love didn't make it? Now here's the hard part. The question that makes our throats tighten. What if my father didn't believe? What if my son rejected God? What if someone I loved deeply isn't in heaven? The Bible doesn't shy away from the reality of eternal separation. But heaven is not a place of sadness. Revelation 21 verse 4 promises, He will wipe every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death, or mourning, or crying, or pain. How can that be, if we're aware of who's missing? We may not fully understand that on this side of eternity, but we can trust that God's justice and God's mercy are perfect, and His healing is complete. Heaven will not be filled with sorrow over what isn't. It will be overflowing with joy over what is. And here's the deeper truth. While we still have breath, it's not too late. The people we love still have a chance to choose Jesus. Your prayers matter. Your witness matters. Your love matters. Don't stop hoping. Don't stop interceding. Because the story isn't over yet. A reunion is coming. You will know them. They will know you. You will see the wrinkles gone, the illness healed, the pain removed. But their smile, their eyes, the way they always said your name, that will be there, shining even brighter in heaven's light. They'll wrap their arms around you. You'll laugh like you used to. And this time, nothing will ever separate you again. This is not fantasy. This is truth grounded in Scripture, wrapped in divine love. The question isn't, will I know my family in heaven? The real question is, are you ready to meet them again? Let's not pretend this is easy. This is the part where tears come, where silence falls, where fear creeps in. Because it's one thing to believe in heaven, it's another to ask, what if someone I love didn't make it there? What if my son, my daughter, my brother, my best friend never gave their life to Christ? What if they laughed when I talked about Jesus? What if they died before they ever turned their heart to God? These aren't abstract questions. These are the questions that haunt us in the middle of the night. They bring guilt, regret, desperation. You wonder, should I have tried harder? Pray more? Said something sooner? Friend, before we go deeper, let me say this. God sees your pain, and He is not finished yet. Grief and grace collide here. There's a kind of grief that no one talks about. The grief over someone's soul. Not just their absence from the dinner table, but the ache of not knowing where they are eternally. We cry for those who pass, yes. But the deepest cry is for those who died without visibly embracing the truth. So what now? Do we collapse under the weight of it? No. We turn to the only place where hope still breathes, God's mercy. Because as long as there is God, there is grace. And as long as there is grace, there is mystery beyond what we can see. Only God sees the heart you and I see outward actions. We hear words. We witness resistance. But only God sees the soul in its final moments. There are stories, real, documented ones, of hardened skeptics whispering prayers seconds before their final breath. There are people who never said Jesus out loud, but cried out to Him in their hearts in a hospital bed, a wrecked car, a quiet room no one else was in. You don't know what a soul says when the veil between life and eternity starts to fall. So don't assume the worst. Don't imprison your heart in fear. Trust that the God who created that soul pursued it to the very last heartbeat. He is more merciful than we are desperate. He is more loving than we are afraid. But what if they truly rejected God? Then yes, Scripture is clear. There is no salvation without Jesus. There is no heaven apart from Him. This is not cruel. It is consistent. God doesn't force people into eternity with Him. He invites. He waits. He calls. But in the end, He honors our choice, even when it breaks His heart. The cross was open to all, but not all say yes. And that reality is devastating. But it also makes this next truth even more beautiful. God will wipe away every tear. Revelation 21 verse 4 doesn't say God will distract us from pain. It says He will wipe it away. That means He sees it. He acknowledges it. And He does something supernatural about it. In heaven, we will not live in eternal sadness over who isn't there. God will fill every gap with Himself. He will heal every memory, redeem every ache, and restore perfect peace. That doesn't mean we forget. It means He becomes so present, so overwhelming in glory that even sorrow bows to him. What should we do while we still can? If you're reading this and thinking of someone you love, someone who's still breathing but still running from God, don't give up. Don't stop praying. Don't stop loving, because eternity hasn't happened for them yet. Your intercession matters. Your testimony matters. Your presence in their life may be the very thing that leads them home. And if they're already gone, then place them in God's hands, not in fear, but in faith. Because if anyone knows how to fight for a soul, it's Jesus. You're not alone in this. I know this is heavy. I know you might be crying right now, but God is here. He sees the name you keep whispering under your breath. He sees the face you keep picturing, and he wants you to know you were never meant to carry this grief alone. Give it to him. Let him carry the weight. Let him hold both your sorrow and your hope. Because the story isn't over, and eternity is still being written for you and for them. You've heard the truth. We don't vanish after death. We don't forget who we are. We don't lose the people we've loved. We don't become faceless spirits drifting in clouds. No, heaven is real. Heaven is relational. And heaven is waiting. But now we must ask the question most people never get to. If that's true, how should we live right now? Because information without transformation is just noise. And eternity isn't just something we experience after we die. It's something we prepare for while we live. This life is not the end. It's the beginning of forever. Let that sink in. This life, the heartbreaks, the funerals, the unanswered questions, it's not your full story. It's only the introduction. James 4 verse 14 says, "What is your life? You are a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes." That's not meant to discourage you. It's meant to awaken you. Because once you realize how short this life really is, you stop wasting it on things that don't matter. You stop chasing approval. You stop fearing death. You start living like your decisions echo into eternity. If you believe heaven is real, it should change your priorities. It means forgiveness becomes urgent. It means love becomes louder. It means grudges become too heavy to carry. You realize every word you speak can become a seed. Every act of kindness can become a bridge. Every moment you live is either building up the kingdom or building up your ego. You don't have time to waste. Not when souls are at stake. Not when eternity is so close. Not when heaven is watching and hell is hoping you'll stay distracted. The way you love now prepares you for heaven later. Jesus said in John 13, verse 35, "By this everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another." He didn't say, by your preaching. He didn't say, by your church attendance. He said love. Why? Because love is the currency of heaven. It's what will last when your career ends, your body fades, and your titles are forgotten. When you love someone sacrificially, eternally, truthfully, you're not just echoing God's heart. You're living as if heaven has already begun inside you. Don't wait until it's too late. So many people live like they have unlimited time. They keep putting off the hard conversations. They wait to say, "I'm sorry." They postpone purpose until retirement. They delay surrender until the next crisis. But let me tell you a secret. You don't prepare for heaven in your deathbed. You prepare for it in your daily life. Heaven doesn't start when your heart stops. It starts the moment you give that heart to Jesus. So what now? Here's what this truth should do to you. Live on purpose. Stop drifting. Start deciding. You were made for more than survival. Forgive radically. There are no grudges in heaven. Don't carry them on earth. Love louder. Tell your family what they mean to you. Call your friends. Hold your spouse. Hug your children. Don't wait for eulogy to say what should have been said in life. Speak truth. If heaven is real, people need to know. Be bold. Be gentle. But don't be silent. Walk with eternity in mind. Every step here is a shadow of forever. Walk like you're going home. Heaven is closer than you think one day. You'll stand at the gates. You'll see a familiar face running toward you, eyes wide, arms open. And in that moment, you'll realize every prayer was worth it. Every tear was seen. Every act of love mattered, and nothing was wasted. You'll look around and see faces you once lost, and they'll say, "You made it." And you'll say, so did you. Because heaven isn't the end of your story. It's a place where every broken story is finally healed. Yes, you will know them. Yes, they will know you. Yes, there is life after this life. But don't just wait for that day. Live like you believe it now. Love like you're already there. And lead others toward the light you now see. Because if heaven is real, and it is, then everything matters. Even this moment, even this choice, even you.